This podcast is sponsored by RSA Rock and Metal Fans Facebook page.
DEITY'S MUSE, welcome to Talk to Trev. And okay, so DEITY'S MUSE, the name, why?
Wow, that's okay. That's from many years ago. I came up with the idea of this band name, and I've regretted it since because a lot of people don't know how to pronounce it. Seems like a lot of South Africans don't know how to pronounce it. Every single show we played overseas, when people meet us, they know how to pronounce it over there, which is really odd, you know. But the meaning itself is basically about the creation of the universe and it being the greatest piece of art ever created, if you believe in it being created by some kind of divine being of sorts. And that's really what it means, is deity is a god and muse is the inspiration. And the question asks, what inspired this creature, this being, to create this amazing piece of artwork?
Would that have something to do with all the album covers then? Because they have some sort of, to me at least, they look like they sort of have some sort of message about Mother Earth and so on.
I suppose we try to keep our themes a little bit ambiguous as well. We try to let people make their own minds up about things. Even the artworks themselves, like we really, as you can see by the artwork, we try to make something quite striking with each album cover that we conceptualize. But there's always a lot going on in each of them, and I think even the lyrical themes in all of our songs, it's never about one thing. You know, there's so many different subject matters that find their way into just one song, and I think the album covers represent that as well.
So let's go through the albums then in chronological order, because I've got, it starts all the way back in 2006, The Eyes Don't See What the Heart Bleeds.
That's great.
Okay, so go for it. What's that? How did it? Okay, fuck that. Okay, let's just go back all the way to, how did DEITY'S MUSE begin?
Wow. Okay, I'll have to come forward to where we are now. I think this is probably the 6th version of the band that we're currently in. Yeah, so I'm the original member from the very early days, and the only reason we got on stage to play was we were almost like dead, you know. It was just me and a friend and my other brother, Greg, who lives in Cape Town now and has a family and everything. He was our original bassist, and we were just jamming songs in my parents' garage. And we had some friends up the road who were in a band called Pyramid Tongue, and they said, don't you want to play a show next, like 2 weeks from now, at the Alberton swimming pool, which was like way back in 2001 or 2002, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And so we go way back, man. We go way back.
It's 2006, and is that the reason why there's like a 4-year break until New Trends in Slavery comes around in 2010?
So, what we did was we recorded with B Sharp Studios way back. In about 2001, 2002, we recorded like a 10-track demo, basically, just all the songs we had written at that point. And that was me, a drummer called Harry, and then my brother Greg, who played bass. We were a 3-piece back then. And that was like our demo album. And, you know, you don't go out and just release an album and then go on tour with this like snot-nosed 19-year-old kid, you know, who thinks that he can play music to anyone. So, 2006, it took us that long to go and record because it's so damn expensive to record as well. It's not like today where you put all the recording equipment on your computer and you can start doing it by yourself. Back then in 2006, we were almost just done recording on tape, you know, like the first demo album we did was all recorded on tape still. And in 2006 was our first like digital experience, you know, and having someone record for you and just hit that record button.
Yeah.
So I think if you listen to not New Trends in Slavery, The Eyes Don't See What the Heart Bleeds, you can hear there's some immaturity and everything, and we're having a good time. But that was 3 different people, you know. And then Alvin joined, Session joined for that album. That's the first album that Session, our drummer, currently had played on, which is in 2006. And then the next album, New Trends in Slavery, is when Alvin joined us in the band. Greg had just left, and Alvin decided to pick up the bass guitar from previously being a drummer in another band.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
So I
Quite
mean,
convoluted.
what was the transition there then? Because Alvin, because I mean that's quite a change. Were you just tired of
Yeah,
being in the
well,
background and wanted to be in the front?
No, well, actually, what happened was I was drumming in a band while Deities was on, and to be quite honest, growing up, I was a big fan of Deities, even though it was my brother's band. I always looked up to him, and the band that I was playing drums for unexpectedly broke up, and within I think like a few months, Wayne and Sashin pulled me aside and said, "Listen, do you want to join Deities?" And I was hoping that they would ask me, if I'm quite honest. But then when before I even thought about it, I said yes. And then I realized, like, what the hell am I going to play? You know, and Session's the drummer. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And then Wayne and Sash said, you know, why don't you pick up the bass? And I've never picked up a bass guitar in my life. And
Wow.
I went and I bought one the next day. And I joined them the next week. And then I had to basically teach myself how to play.
Awesome.
And get into their songs and everything like that. And I've never looked back since. I'm really, really, really enjoying it now.
I mean, I've spoken to quite a few bands, and every member that I've spoken to have always said they've got like 3 or 4 different side projects going on. Are you guys exactly the same? You have like 10 different bands or something?
No, we don't. We, like me personally on the side, I was doing something on the side with my old bandmates that I was drumming for. And that was, we never had any intention of even playing or doing anything live. It was just to write different music. And I found it attractive because it would help me hone in on some skills and stuff like that and give me more experience on the bass guitar, and I would maybe hopefully pick up some new skills or something, I don't know. And but that's, like I said, it wasn't anything but just friends getting together writing music, and obviously there was no commitments there, so that's kind of dissolved now.
Okay.
Yeah, we tend to give everything into Deities, actually. All of our creative output goes to the band, really.
Yeah,
How frustrating has it been for this year, though?
It has been frustrating. This whole year, and I mean, the thing that is making it not so less of an impact on us mentally and physically is the fact that we're all in this. You know, every single human being has gone through something completely fucked up during the course of this year, anyway. So many plans derailed. You know, we had been working on doing a European tour again this year, and a UK tour. And you have to say goodbye to all of your plans, you know. Also, we're in the middle of recording new music and a new EP, and the whole lockdown happened, and you just had to leave your band room with a whole bunch of equipment behind and get out of there. So it's been tricky buying some new gear and stuff so we could record at home without even seeing each other. You know, it's been weird.
Are you guys? It sounds like you guys are the kind of band that need to be in a room together to play. You know, not like these current bands that, you know, program drums and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Is it because of the access to different equipment, or to, you know, equipment has moved on such a far way that you can record at home by a press of a button and not have to get into a studio? You save yourself a shit ton of money as well. So exactly. I guess that's also a factor.
I think we work in tandem with the old school way of sitting in a band room and riffing and getting together and just jamming, and then taking those recordings, those like really rough cell phone recordings home, and each of us working on parts by ourselves and refining it until we get it to a point where we don't have to be in a room together anymore, and we can just separately record things and send files back and forth. Right. So we use it in tandem. We're half of us, like one foot is in the old school and the other foot is in the new school way of thinking. And I think there's a nice balance that kind of works with us by doing it in that way.
Yeah.
Is it the new way? Is that? I'm just trying to think of a way of how I can make it sound interesting, not like a complete fucking noob. But because I mean, I don't know anything about the recording process. I mean, I've been in studios a couple of times, but I mean, in the way that it's done these days, it's almost like saying you're not an artist if you're pressing a button to record, you know, like these pop artists or whatever, you know, rap and so on. They just press a button. You're not learning an instrument, you know. Is the recording process nowadays going to be headed the same way? Is it just going to be a shortcut to thinking, or is it just gonna sort of aid the music business?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I personally, playing, I like it being organic. I like being with the guys. I like sitting down and recording with my bass. Listening back to a part that doesn't sound good enough, let me try to create something else for that specific part. And I think if it's going to be or go down a path where people are just kind of programming absolutely every instrument, I don't quite think you would get the feel that you're looking for the whole time. Because sometimes, me personally, I can't speak on behalf of everyone, but just being in the band room or jamming with the guys, and on the spot you're sitting with your instrument and you're coming up with ideas, you feed off each other. And I think if I had to just sit down behind a computer and just track things the whole time, I wouldn't be pushing myself as much as I could, because I don't think there would be so many opportunities waiting for me on the outskirts there from everyone else that's putting the input,
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much old school, so I mean, I can totally relate and understand that. So I mean, let's get back to the albums now. So after New Trends in Slavery comes Live at B Sharp Studios. Was that just a little fuck around kind of thing?
Yeah, that's just a Bandcamp only album that we put out. Right. Yeah, at that point, I think there was 2002 or 2001. No, hold on, 2010, 2011, somewhere around there.
2011,
and that was our 10th year anniversary. Okay. And we wanted to figure out what we could do to do something different for our 10-year celebration thing. So we booked B Sharp Studios and we did live video performances, 10 songs over the course of like one day, and we released them once a week for like 10 weeks basically to celebrate the 10. Nice. So that's all it really is. Basically a live album that we decided to put out, digitally for people to listen to as well.
Yeah.
If you look at the chronologically, 2006, 2010, and then 2011, it's 3 albums in 10 years. It's not exactly great going, is it?
No, but we're not a pop band, so who gives a fuck?
You mean you don't have to press a button and off you go?
No, really. Like, we're very much a band that we work according to how we feel, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
You could ask the same thing of a band of Tool, like someone like Tool. They take forever to do it. When it's ready, it comes out. We're very, especially the later half of our time in this band we're very, very particular and pedantic about how it should sound before we put things out and how things should look before we release them to the public. So we're very careful about that. We're very protective of it.
Sure, no, that's
100%. That was a good answer. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Does this play into the fact that we haven't seen anything? You haven't done any online stuff during COVID, that you prefer to have control over what you've done? Oh, you have?
Yeah, you mean like live streaming or something? Oh no, we haven't done that. No,
we haven't done any live streaming. No.
Yeah. Because we're busy working on new music. So in the background, we figure, there's a lot of bands doing the live streaming thing, and that's cool for them if they want to do it. But we prefer, again, it's the organic thing of having people in the room with you and actually feeling that music. And us being a small, the thing is, I feel, and I think a lot of the guys in Deity's also feel the same way, is if you're a big band, like a really big band with a big following, then go ahead and do the streaming thing because you'll get the numbers. But if you're a smaller band, like say of our size and stature, you get more out of this time by actually working on new music and recording and putting new releases and future releases together, so you've got content keeping you going over this time.
But Wayne, aren't you concerned about keeping the fire burning?
No, not really.
Fuck me, you couldn't get a more straight answer than that.
No, because we have new releases. The thing is, our game plan for the last couple of years, and that's why we've been putting out these EPs and stuff, is on tour overseas. Like, our eyes are more firmly placed on the European and the UK
abroad. Yeah.
So what is the plan then? Is the plan for this? Obviously, this year's a write-off. You're looking at 2021 to go overseas again, or to release more stuff first and then test the waters and see what's going on?
Yeah,
I think that's what we're gonna probably do, hey Wayne?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's
we
the
got-
whole point. Like, we got all this music recorded, and we've got a whole bunch of music
exactly.
that we haven't even recorded yet either. During this entire lockdown, we have all been creative and been writing and putting things together. And the whole point is, you know, when you want to go on tour overseas, you can't, the promoters and stuff don't take you seriously if you don't have some kind of new release to promote behind it. You know, they don't just take you on for the sake of you being a band from South Africa, you know. They want to know that you have some content and you got some new stuff to tour with. And us releasing EPs every couple of months means that we get to go on tour overseas every couple of months if we so wish to do so, you know.
Yeah.
Is there a sort of underlying pressure to continuously do that though? I mean, do you get any sort of like writer's block, or is it just boom, that's it, it's there?
I don't really know. Like, I think we get inspired every time. Well, I do. I get inspired every time we go overseas, and you know, you go there and you realize that, you know, there's certain things that you can improve on, and then every time you come back, you feel inspired. You want to write better songs. You want to be better. You want to play better, and yeah, I think on my side, when we go over and we come back, I feel, like I said, inspired. And
what happens
trying to
then?
push
Then?
out
If you go over there and you play a couple of gigs and you get a
Yeah.
nice, you know, you get hyped up and you get the adrenaline
Yeah.
flowing, do you go in your mind, well,
Yeah.
maybe we should move here?
Yes, we've had that question. We've discussed it before. I don't quite know if we quite there yet, Wayne. Like, in terms of moving over to like the UK or something. I don't quite know if a scenario where we would actually pack up our bags now and go over, unless we was for sure that we were getting really big shows and we were part of the actual scene there. Because I think at the moment what we're trying to do is get our foot in the door, and we're slowly but surely doing that. I think we would be a little bit premature to do that now.
What is the backing behind getting that done though? Because I would imagine that you'd have to be signed on with some sort of PR company or label or something. I mean, to go over sort of unsigned, I mean, is it doable being unsigned from a big label?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
You don't need labels anymore, you know, not so much. It seems like a lot of the labels are focusing on pop stars and pop artists and the big numbers, and it depends on what you want to do. And we've always been a band that just wanted to play music that we ourselves want to hear and enjoy playing. We're very selfish that way, you know. We're playing music for us.
Well, that's not being selfish. That's sharing with the rest of the world. Yeah, no, that's good.
Well, yeah. You know, the thing is, if you like something personally, there's someone else there who likes the same thing. So that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the funny thing is that you know, DEITY'S MUSE wasn't on my radar at all. A good friend of mine said, "How about you get DEITY'S MUSE? I love the music, and you know, I'd love to hear a podcast with them." And I was like, "Okay, well, let me find out." And that's how I reached out. Why is it that you were not on my radar? Is it hard to get through to people in South Africa? Is that why Europe is so attractive?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a weird thing, because I mean, how do you answer that? How do you answer why people don't know of you? Like, we've been around for almost 20 years, and a good example
crazy,
is,
man.
It is fucking crazy, and I don't know how to answer that except for sounding a little bit like a dickhead. For example, we've only ever played one Opikopi festival, and we tried for 10 years to get on there. And we're not your first choice for festivals in this country for some reason. But that being said, we played, you know, various international festivals already, including something like Bloodstock, where we get into all of these things, and we went on tour with so many interesting, fairly big bands in the UK and stuff. But over here in South Africa, I don't know what it is, man.
That's such a strange.
It's a good question, because I was thinking the same thing, and it's like the obvious answer is, you know, more people need to go to shows and pay more attention to the scene. But even in saying that, because I think as well, because we've been a little bit more focused on the UK, maybe, you know, it could be that we haven't really put that much out into South Africa in terms of performing live here over the last, say, 2 years.
Well, the thing is also, we used to play a hell of a lot live anyway.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
A hell of a lot of venues to choose from either. And
that's a good point, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have closed down too, so that doesn't help either.
Exactly, yeah.
You can oversaturate yourself here, you know. At some point you you as an artist get a little tired of playing to the same exact crowd all the time, as sad as that sounds, because you go to a place like Europe or the UK, it's almost always a new audience to play to. If you only have like 2 venues in South Africa to choose from, it can get stale eventually, and also it stifles your creativity. So knowing that you have to continue being creative and put stuff out there to keep ourselves on the road and travel overseas and get to experience all these amazing things. That's the only way to do it, is to completely think differently to what you would do if you were trying to make it in your own scene.
I think the biggest problem that South Africa has is that economically this country's fucked.
It is actually.
I mean, let's be honest here. We've got a government that's completely fucked, and everything else, that the arts and entertainment industry is fucked, particularly this year. So I mean, imagine put yourself in a club owner's shoes. Imagine trying to open up a club for rock acts. How difficult. You must have a fucking bankroll to boot if you think of doing that.
Absolutely.
Especially now with so few venues and someone wanting to open up, because surely at some point in the next few months, or I don't know, this is just a guess, but there's so few venues, surely one's about to pop up somewhere. And whoever does that, I wish them the best of luck.
I wouldn't want to be in their shoes.
I mean, Trev, it's like even when you asked us about the touring, next year, it's very difficult to answer that right now because the UK is going into like a second lockdown. They're talking about.
I've got friends over there, and they're saying they're talking about doing what we did, doing the whole stifling of the booze and everything like that. So, yeah, they're gonna get hit fucking hard now, I think.
I fully agree.
Yeah,
I mean, we're in a lucky position at the moment. We're signed with a booking agent in the UK, and when things open up there properly, then we will be one of the first guys around that will actually know about these opportunities and hopefully take advantage. It
can't be easy though, thinking about doing a European sort of like mini tour or something, because that's expensive, particularly for South Africans.
That's very expensive, man.
I mean, how do you even break even, or do you automatically go in and say, okay, well, we know that we might break even, it might be a loss, but at least we're getting the message out? Is that the whole point of it?
That's pretty much, you hit the nail on the head. I don't think we've ever broke even.
No,
but
we almost broke even. We got very
almost did, yeah. We're getting there.
Fucking hell, guys.
But now this whole COVID thing happened, and while the ball was like rolling really, really good for us, this whole COVID thing happened. But I don't know, I'm still staying positive, the one thing that you have to remember is that everyone else is in the same position. It's not like everyone else is taking advantage of the situation and we can't,
I guess there could be sort of like some sort of silver lining in that everybody, when everything sort of opens up again and you can start touring again, everybody's going to be hungry to go to a show.
Exactly. I fully agree with that,
Yeah. Okay, so let's move forward to 2016, and we've got the album Convergence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I love iTunes. It says it's rock. I disagree.
What do you think?
I don't know. You see, this is the. I fucking sigh a lot in this podcast because I'm trying to think of I ask the fucking questions, not the people I'm speaking to. I don't know. It's heavy enough to be sort of metal, hardcore rock.
Yeah.
Hard rock. I don't know.
Yeah, I would put it in hard rock. Yeah.
Maybe that's why you were confused about us not being on your radar and stuff, is that we're all over the place. Like, I think we're an alternative rock band rooted in alternative rock, but we have metal influences. And
but that's really good though, isn't it? Because you are being different, and different nowadays works.
Absolutely. I was going to say that's exactly. I think being unique and separating yourself from what everyone else is doing. That's if you sound unique, immediately you get people's attention. And I think even if we had to ask us, if we get a question like, "What do you guys think you sound like?" It's almost I can never answer that because I don't know what we sound like.
But it just shows that the progression of the band and the musicianship as well is progressing. There's you can see that there's something happening that you're getting better and better and better. If I could say that. I mean, the earlier stuff sounds good. Convergence sounds really good. and then we start heading to 2019 and 2020, the stuff we've released then, which we'll touch on just now. But Convergence seems very much like some sort of progression in what you guys are doing. And it's a good thing that you're not being labeled a rock act that sounds like this or sounds like that. Each album is different, and that's good.
I think Convergence was a big turning point for us, actually.
How so?
It was,
Yeah, it flipped things for us.
Okay.
Basically,
how do you mean? How did that? What do you mean by that?
What happened was, leading up to it, we had a band from Australia come to South Africa for a South African tour called Dead Letter Circus. And we played a few shows with them. We played in Cape Town and Joburg and Pretoria. And they were blatantly honest with us and said, you're not the tightest band. And, there's something going. You got something unique going, but you all need to work on it here and there. And we decided maybe the guitarist who produces for people like Butterfly Effect and stuff, maybe he'd be keen on helping us put an album out, because at that point we had new songs and we were trying to get ready to put a new album out.
Right.
And he shook us up big time and said, Wayne, you got to go for vocal lessons, and you guys have to tighten up your songwriting, this and that. So we worked with Vinny from Dead Letter Circus on Convergence for the first time. And we sent recordings. We recorded stuff in South Africa and sent files to Australia, and he would mix them and say, cool, rather he has a new guitar part that maybe sounds better that you could try out, re-record this part, etc., etc. To the point where we decided to become a 4-piece band during the process of recording the album, and we've stayed a 4-piece band ever since.
Wow.
And it's because of him that we are constantly trying to progress and get better with each and every new release.
Wow, awesome. Well, I mean, it definitely, you can hear it. You can definitely hear it. And we've got less than 10 minutes. I haven't even touched on the 2019 stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, that's insane, man. But I guess we can always start part 2 directly afterwards if you guys have the time. That's entirely up to you guys.
I'm easy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also.
Hey, don't tell the girls that, eh?
No, I am telling the girls there. I'm joking.
The bassist. He's the bassist.
He's the bassist. He's sick and tired of slapping the 4-string. Yeah. Oh dear. Okay, so let's carry on then until time runs out. We can go to 2019 and Lungs Full. Now that was a three-track EP.
Yes.
Okay. Now I remember seeing that album cover because one David Beretta Owens made a comment on the album cover and said, "This is fucking terrific, well done," and everything like that. I know Dave quite well. So
Dave, awesome.
Yeah. So Lungs Full. So there's another 3 years after Convergence to Lungs Full. So what happened with this EP then? Why an EP?
Well, that's during our time, like, for example, I have to backtrack slightly, but with Convergence, it opened up a lot of opportunity for us to play some shows overseas and stuff. And what happened after that was we kind of network, and you meet all these people in the industry and various other bands who are, basically in the same position you are, but in their scenes. And you start learning about how they are making names for themselves in their areas. And we met up with some labels and stuff in the UK, and they've been very helpful, PR labels, etc. as well, PR companies. And they've been very helpful with us. You tell them you're a band from South Africa and you actually have something that is a decent product that is interesting to them. And they've been super helpful with telling us, giving us some foresight in how to keep the attention going. And with EPs, firstly, an album takes like 2 years or 3 years to make one album, and how much money it costs, it's a hell of a lot of money. And then you still want to try and go on tour, which you yourself pay for anyway. It's basically impossible. So doing an EP and doing them every couple of months was the plan, so that we could continuously be on tour and continuously have something new out there and keep it on rotation.
So what is, Wayne, what is the actual answer then? Is the answer to have your own studio?
I think it helps. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's 2020 now. You can do so many things. So many YouTube tutorials. You can buy some gear for laptops.
But we're coming now full circle, though, aren't we? Because now we're going to be talking about, putting shit down by a press of a button and recording your stuff at a home studio. There's no bandmates around you and all that sort of stuff. But would the ideal be to have an actual proper setup studio?
Oh yeah, I mean, like all the stuff that you heard on Convergence and that you heard on Lungs Full, all of it was tracked in our band room.
Right.
So yeah, we've got our band
Yeah, that's
room
exactly it. Yeah.
You can track in our band room.
Okay, so
we
the polishing off of the album has got to go to proper producer and so on, mixer and so on.
Yeah, exactly, and that's Vinny from Dead Letter Circus. He worked on Lungs Full. He's working with us on our new stuff at the moment as well, and we track everything in our band room, and we send all those files to Australia, and he reamps stuff on that side, and mixes and masters, and we send things back and forth. He might even send ideas and arrangement ideas and say, this arrangement doesn't work quite well. How about we try this? I've come up with this. You just have to re-record these parts now. So it's a very collaborative way of how we work. Between 5 people, basically.
Right. Okay. No, I mean it's interesting that you've chosen to go to someone abroad. Why not local?
Yeah. Good question.
I just think Vinny is just, when we toured with Dead Letter Circus, we saw how incredibly talented they were, and it's one of the bands that we really look up to. Before we went on that tour with them, it's one of our favorite bands, and just to get the opportunity to work with someone who's, in a sense, quite professional in their industry, it was attractive to us, and just working with someone that's in a band that we looked up to. It was more inviting to us to do that than to. We've obviously through the years gone through producers and studios here in South Africa. We wanted to try something different. This seemed a little bit more. I keep using the word attractive, but that's exactly what it was. Who doesn't want to work with a producer from Australia who's very successful?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you got to go with your gut feeling as well, and strike while the iron's hot. They keep saying.
I feel like our previous times with working with producers in this country is they don't produce as much as they hit the record button. No disrespect to them. But when we discussed with guys doing an album, they never get to hear it beforehand. It was always just you rock up at the studio, you make sure you're tight, and they pretty much hit the record button. And then having someone like Dead Letter Circus, like that band, telling us that you can work on this and there's potential for this and that, it was intriguing. We didn't shy away from their constructive criticism. We dove straight into it and we wanted to find out more. And we started working on one song only and immediately felt that there were results. And since then, we haven't looked back on it.
And now we're heading into 2020. What was happening in 2020 when COVID hit you guys?
We were busy recording the vocals for our new EP that hasn't come out yet.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had recorded vocals for 2 songs, and then we went into lockdown like the very next day. I think I remember we released a single called Era in July this year or June this year. I can't remember when we put it out. And that is the last thing I recorded in our band room in February, at the end of February, before we had to go into lockdown. So
what plans were put in place for them for 2020 for you guys before COVID hit?
We were busy negotiating, getting onto a tour with some really cool bands in UK and Europe. That was part of the plan. So the plan was to have a new EP to tour with on this big tour that we were going to join up with, And obviously that all of it got cancelled. Except for the EP, we're still working on it, but now we're just working a bit slower on it because, we've had some holdups.
So, I mean, this must be a fucking nightmare. I mean, how long is this going to set you back now?
Well, so far it's a year, and we'll see what happens. I mean, like, the thing is, when it comes to playing live again, especially tours overseas, part of me wonders if we'll get a shot yet, because there are so many big bands that have lost out on actual income and they survive on tour, where we don't. We pay our way to be on tour. Real big bands probably have lost a shit ton of money over this time. So you'd think that they would be ambling around, scrambling around to get on to tours next year anyway. So I'm not sure what the opportunity is going to be like. It's your guess is as good as mine.
I mean, I guess the ideal thing to do would be to do some gigs around South Africa and get the feels back out there again.
Yeah, more than likely it would be the plan, I would imagine, just to get back into the swing of things. I mean, not performing on stage for a year. Like, I posted something on Instagram a while ago saying that I completely forgot what it's like to play on stage.
Wow.
And we need to get back into that feeling before we start heading out to these big tours overseas and everything like that. I think we're going to have a few local shows just to get back into it.
What goes into the process of actually going abroad, other than having a fuck ton of money to get there for starters? But what is the process? I mean, who do you approach? When you did your first tour, what was that like? How did that come to be?
Wayne, I don't know if you want to answer this, but for me, like, it just showed us how ill-prepared we were, if I can put it that way. We just try to put as much on the plate as possible and try to do as much as possible. We didn't really know what we were doing. And that was not only a wake-up call, but it was a very, very good lesson to us. You got to be very pragmatic about how you want to do these tours. Looking at the first tour to what we do now, we not only do we save a lot more money because we know what to do and how to book where we stay and travel and what equipment you can take over, because you obviously have to be very conscious of carrying too much weight and all that stuff. And going from the first tour to this one now, it's like, I wish we could go back and do the first tour again, because I don't think we would do the same.
To understand how fucked up that first tour was, our first tour overseas was in 2012.
Right.
And it consisted of like 4 shows. 1 in Germany, 1 in the UK, and 2 in the US, which is absolutely stupid. And I don't recommend anyone ever tour like that, because
it was heavy. I mean, I remember we left South Africa and we arrived in Germany, played that night. For some of us, it was our first time overseas. So we go there and we land in Germany, we play that night. We had to wake up super early in the morning to catch a flight to London. Play that
we had
same
a red-eye
night.
flight. Yeah.
And we played that same night in London. By that time we were I think we were hallucinating. That's how tired we were. And we had like a day off in London. I don't think we tried to do anything. We were just so exhausted. And then we had to fly to the States the next day. And I remember Wayne and Sash, because at that time, the first tour we went on was just 3 of us, me, Wayne and Sash. And I remember when we arrived in the US, I think for like 2 days, Wayne, you and Session were out. I slept like for 2 days straight, and I was like, I think I was overtired. I couldn't sleep, and I was
to the point that you couldn't sleep.
Yeah, exactly, man. And it's just like I said before, like, we just try to do too much, with a little bit of time that we had. And I mean, going to 3 different, going to Europe, then the UK, then the States, in like 2 weeks, it was just crazy, man.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
But I mean, how did it actually come to be? Did you have a contact that's like a promotion PR people overseas?
Yeah, we made contact with someone who we sent a song of ours, I'm the Observer. We sent to a guy we had made contact with in Los Angeles by the name of Tom Hazard, who is singing with Dave Ellipson's band at the moment called Ellipson.
Okay. Ellipson,
he used to manage Chimera. I don't know if you know a metal band called Chimera. Yeah, so he used to manage them.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So we made contact with him, and he liked what he heard, and he said, cool, he's going to help us put some kind of tour together. And we pulled all our contacts from around the world that we had at that stage, which wasn't much. And they, just helped us book some shows. We did all the rest. Our management did all the rest with booking all the flights and everything. So with a silly tour like that, 3 different places, you have 3 different visas that you have to get and 3 different plane tickets, and you have connecting flights everywhere to try and save money, because you can't do direct flights because it just costs too much money. And it can really break you. It's the worst thing for a band that isn't very big to go and do such a tour, because you don't have that much financial backing, and we didn't have the experience that we do have today. Like, we learned a hell of a lot, like Alvin said, from that tour.
Jesus, no, No, I would have said just do Europe first. Do like Germany and all of those kind of places before.
Well, I think in a sense it was a good thing, because like Wayne said, that it's a tour that can either make or break you. You know, we were a short amount of time, financial burdens as well, and just tired and just constantly just worrying about the next show and what we're going to do. And you know, it could have been, like I said, a make or break tour. You know, and we learned from it. We understood that there was a lot of things we could do better, and it actually it propelled us to work harder. And we knew after that tour that we wanted to carry on doing something like this as long as we possibly can, but we need to do better, not just individually, but in terms of patience and writing. Is there any
creativity that sort of goes on during a hectic tour like that, you know, writing songs? Is anything sort of comes to you?
Well, some of the stuff that you'll hear on our next EP, we wrote while we were on tour in the UK last year. We had 2 days off and we were just messing around. So some riffs and stuff came out of that ended up on these new songs that we have coming out soon. So
now let's talk about the new stuff. We're looking at a 2021 release.
We were looking actually at like an October release, you know, August, September, October release this year. But obviously, you know, things have been put on the back burner slightly because of COVID. You know, not only are we very busy at the moment, but, you know, we're still working with Clint from Dead Letter Circus, and he's also very busy. And they're all dealing with their own, how they deal with COVID on that side too.
Yeah.
So, yes, 2021 is probably the more logical way of doing it. But that just means that we'll be releasing the very next EP after that, even sooner after that, because we do have a whole bunch of songs waiting on the back burner now. So, you know, it's just a thing of putting it together and putting a whole marketing plan out and hopefully having a tour to help us put these things out, you know.
Is the release dates dependent on Europe's summer festivals and things like that?
Yeah, it depends. It has been like that for us because that's where we've been for the last couple of years. We've done a couple summer festivals in Europe and everything, and the timing has just kind of worked out that way. The thing is, like, we would get like a cool festival, like say for example Bloodstock, when we played there in 2018. That was the first show we had booked, and we built a whole tour around that. So we went on tour with another UK band and played a whole bunch of UK shows, and then ended it off at Bloodstock. And that's kind of how we've been doing it. But for example, how we were supposed to do it this year, we were supposed to be on tour now in October, November in Europe with two fairly big bands. That was the plan that we were working on, and obviously that kind of came to nothing.
And can you say who the bands were?
No, unfortunately not.
I'm sorry, I had to try.
No, I don't blame you.
You have every right.
It is my fucking podcast after all. I can ask whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, for sure.
That's 100%.
What's your favorite drink? There we go. Let's start with that.
Me, beer.
Beer.
Yeah.
I'm talking about an alcoholic drink.
Yeah, well, whatever you know, if you don't drink, then what's your favorite drink?
It's just beer. Devil's Peak First Light.
There we go. Devil's Peak. This guy's looking for a sponsorship. Come on, make it happen.
Yes.
Yeah, come on, Devil's Peak.
Wayne, what's your favorite tipple? I gather you're a whiskey or a red wine kind of guy.
That's interesting. You're very close. I'm not as snobbish as that. I'm more on the snobbish side of the craft beer vibe.
Okay.
I don't drink any mass-produced beer. I can't do it. I hate it. So I only drink craft beer.
Right.
I'm into water, coffee, craft beer, and whiskey, and the occasional red wine.
And not in any particular order?
No, but I can't, you know, I'm not one, like if I had to be honest with you, I drink maybe 3 beers over the course of a week. That's kind of my alcoholic intake.
Right, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, I try not to drink during the week, but just you know, the amount of shit that person's got to deal with sometimes, you just can't help yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
A person can only take so much of life sometimes, you know, you just got to just say, fuck it.
Lockdown, you know, with like us having no alcohol during lockdown, some people, you know, I use it as like, say, a reward mechanism. If I've done like some work today, then I'm going to crack open a beer tonight. And at lockdown, you weren't allowed doing that because you couldn't get beer.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair enough. So, 2021, do we know, can you say what the album title is going to be?
Yeah, our new EP is called Ennui.
Ennui.
Which is Ennui, yeah.
Ennui,
E-N-N.
as in we, you and I, we.
No, as in, it's a French word meaning feeling of sadness or carrying a heavy weight on your shoulders.
Okay, so what you want to say is ennui.
Ennui.
Yeah. My mother's French.
And we sing,
yeah, sorry.
and we're going to be singing in French as well.
That's it. I don't want to do a podcast with you guys anymore. Screw this.
Actually, the first time I heard that word is from the band Live on their album Secret Samadhi.
Right.
There's a song called Rattlesnake, and Ed Kowalczyk mentions the word in one of the lyrics, but he pronounces it wrong. He calls it ennui, and it's actually on, which I found out somewhere.
Yeah, ennui.
Basically bringing ennui back.
Right, okay. There we go. Interesting, okay. And do we know, can you reveal any title tracks or how many numbers of songs and length and so on?
Well, the idea is for this one there's going to be 4, but, I think with us having spent so much time this year just writing and sending files back and forth and not being in the live scene for obvious reasons, we might actually just release an EP that has a whole shit ton of songs on it. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. At the moment, we're just writing and recording, and we're waiting for some stuff.
Why is it called an EP?
Extended play.
Yeah,
the old days.
It's the stupidest shit. I had this conversation with the very first podcast that I did with C3, Collicott Carver, and we were saying it's called extended play. We were like, why the fuck? It's the stupidest name for the short version of an album.
Yeah. It's because you would have vinyl. It was LP as your long player, which is an album. Yeah. And then you had your single, because they used to release singles all the time. It was
2 songs in it, yeah.
And then to tell you that, there's an extended play is the EP, which is just short of the long play. It's kind of weird.
It doesn't make sense, but there you go. The music industry at this point doesn't really make much sense either.
No, but if I were to give advice to a younger South African band, I think our method, the way we're doing it now, which is releasing EPs, is the most financially economical way to do it, because so many bands, and I've seen it because we've done it too, is you record like a whole album's worth of material. You spend how many years doing it, and then you put it out and realize you don't have money for PR, and you don't have money to do a tour behind it either. But so your album gets lost in the ether. Nowadays,
everybody's just using every format that they possibly can. But do you find that could possibly saturate the market?
Working old school? Or
the new school, the new way of doing it. The people are just constantly in your face. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and God knows what else.
That's why we look up to people like your, bands like Deftones and Tool and stuff, is they work on their own terms, If we had to follow what, say, the CEO of Spotify recently said.
Do we really need to talk about that guy? Fucking hell.
It's ridiculous, man. And that's why I said earlier when I made the joke of we're not a fucking pop band, so we're not going to be releasing so many things so quickly.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what I mean by it. It's there's a difference between being creative and then just trying to be relevant. Who gives a fuck about relevance when you can have something that's going to be timeless, still around.
Exactly. You guys obviously do your own distribution. You're not you're doing it through a plug music agency, you did say earlier.
Yeah, we just have a little thing with TuneCore, which is an online distribution site.
But it's the end companies that are actually making the money, aren't they? Like we're talking now about Spotify.
Absolutely, man. And they go and sign someone like Joe Rogan. I'm sure they're making even more money now.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, what is... you got to start off somewhere and say, well, how about you pay us 1 cent per stream? Surely the guy could live with that.
It's weird. it's all changed so much, man. It's a whole different world. Even when it comes to, say, for example, having bands come to this country for tours and stuff. Back in the day, you used to contact, like, say, Sony if you wanted to bring Pearl Jam over, and you'd like find out how well they were doing on radio, how much they get played, how many fans they almost
The numbers,
how many people were going to come to the show. Now it's almost a thumbsuck, really, because people are getting their music all over the place. You know,
is the world now of record labels over?
Not entirely, no, because
unless you're pop music, of course,
yeah. But even like there are big metal labels, like guys like Nuclear Blast still exist, and I think there's you know, like how the middle class gap has changed between middle class and poor and the wealthy. It's done the same to the music scene. You know, you have small bands, and then you have mid-level bands, and then you have the in-betweeners, and then you have the big bands. So there's a time and place for when you're ready to be on an actual label, because where you'll get the most out of a label. But you kind of need to have quite a following before you can even be on a label in the first place for them to get the most out of you. This
is exactly. I had a conversation with it was Ryder, the previous podcast before this one, and he was saying that he approached when they recorded his album, he approached a label or two, and they were saying, well, we have to look at the numbers. And he was like, well, what the fuck are the numbers? And the numbers are, how many Facebook followers you have, what's your Instagram followers like, and your Twitter followers. And those are the numbers that they look at. You can inflate those numbers so quickly and not spend a fucking fortune and look like you've got thousands of followers. It doesn't mean that all thousands of them are going to turn up at your fucking gig. Those are not the numbers you look at.
Exactly. That's a good point. Yeah.
Ridiculous. But anyway,
they have good backing with good songs and good performances. So
well, that's it. You know, your content. You know, that's you know, your recording process and how it sounds and your gigs, and you know, actually, like they used to do in the back in the day, is actually go to a show, not look at fucking Facebook numbers. Jeez. What the world needs is another Peter Grant. That's what they need.
Yeah, with a baseball bat, eh?
Baseball bat and a fuck ton of not giving a fuck.
Yeah, we don't have people like that anymore, really.
No, the whole world is too PC, man.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you just say one thing wrong and that's it. You're fucked.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we actually have one of our new songs has got something to do with that, with the whole current wave of cancel culture which is happening.
Right.
And we have some words about that on our new EP that will hopefully be out very soon. So it's a bit of a teaser for what's coming. I hope we don't get cancelled.
So everybody just needs to keep an eye on your social pages and to be
exactly, man. Subscribe to us on whatever format you use to listen to your music. Just hit that subscribe button or that like button or whatever you have to do.
Yep, and everything will be in the description below. So links to everything will be there in the description below, so people can do the necessary.
When it gets released.
Let's talk about videos. So, I mean, your YouTube channel's got a fair bit of videos on there.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. We try to stay active and we try to have content out there because, you know, like, again, we're trying to think globally, and you can only play so many shows in South Africa before, you know, you played the same venue 5 times in 1 year.
Yeah.
So we like to be quite visible by making use of the internet, because that's where the most crowd will see you, you know, outside of actually coming to watch you live.
Right. Okay. So again, all the links will be in the description below, so the guys can click on and subscribe and do the necessary, you know what to do. So guys, let's have Alvin, a rig rundown. What are you playing on?
Well, at the moment I'm using a Fender Jazz Bass.
Ooh.
Nice. Dude, I love it. I'd actually traded in my Timeless Star Classic drum set for it, and I didn't have to put anything into it. I had to let go of my baby, which was my drum kit for it. But I was happy to do so because
that's a good swap, I think.
Dude, it was
good trade.
I love that. I love that bass. I love it so much. It's got such a good tone. I use that, and I use a little Mark III bass head, and then basically just a custom. It's a bass head amp that goes with it. And I don't really have that many crazy things. And I've obviously got some pedals, the Zoom pedal with it, because some of the stuff I use a little bit of distortion on my bass. I still want to explore a little bit more on different sounds and everything like that, but that's pretty much it. I live by the little Mark III bass head, Mark bass, because I can travel, can go anywhere. I just put it on my back. It's like 3 kilos.
Yeah,
you put it on your back and you can take it anywhere with you. And obviously with the Fender Jazz bass, I'm going to stick with Fender as long as I can. Though.
Yeah. No, there we go. Fender, you're looking for some sponsorship or whatever, you know what to do. Get in touch with Elvin. Yeah, that'll
please get in touch with me.
So Devil's Peak and Fender, that'll be great.
Yeah, I'll be over the moon.
Wayne, what's your setup?
Well, I'm a tricky one because I'm left-handed.
Oh, okay.
Finding left-handed guitars in this country is quite difficult sometimes. I've got 2 guitars. I've got a Dean Evo standard guitar, which we were endorsed by Dean a couple of years ago when they still had an agent here in South Africa.
Right.
So I've got a guitar from them, which is awesome.
And is that endorsement no longer?
No, that's long gone. But part of it was you pay a certain amount for it, and then it's yours, kind of.
Nice.
So I've had this guitar with me for like 10 years now, at least. And then I've got an Epiphone Les Paul, and I run all of it through a Zoom pedal, and I've got all my distortions and everything on the Zoom pedal as well. It's just easier for me to carry all these effects in a small compact place. For touring, like Alvin said, with his Mark bass, it's so easy to carry around,
Yeah.
So in South Africa, I would be using Marshall amps. I've got a stack in our band room. Nice. And use ACM 900 or I have an ABT 150 Marshall head. It depends what I'm in the mood for. Nice. But when we go on tour, we use whatever there is because we're always like an opening band or like co-support band or whatever. Right. And we use whatever there is, but it's nice to have a Zoom pedal that has everything that I need for it, I was
speaking to in one of my podcasts to Tom Nauman of Primal Fear on the heavy metal band in Germany. Yeah. And he was telling me that I asked him the same thing, what his rig rundown is, and he just says he puts everything onto his USB stick and then plugs it in, and that's it. Everything's there for him.
Yeah.
How fucking genius is that?
That's crazy, yeah.
It's awesome. Fucking nuts if you think about it. You just, just plug it into your desk with a USB stick and you've got all your pedals and mixers and everything there. Boom, done.
Yeah, that's the world we're living in now. It's so much easier, man. It really is.
It's crazy thinking you don't have to cart shit around anymore. Fucking hell.
I wish.
Well, I'd rather cart 3 kilograms than cart like fucking stupid stacks around.
I'm like a pretty small
touring,
dude.
I guess,
Yeah, I'm like a pretty small dude, so me carrying equipment around is like an ant lifting something.
You're not helping yourself by saying that. The ladies are going to be going,
No, well, I'm skinny. I'm not. I'm not like 3 foot high or something.
3 foot high. Okay,
it's really difficult carrying all this heavy shit anyway. Like I remember the old doors in Edenvale. We played a few shows there, and you'd have to carry all your amps and stuff up those stairs. They didn't have an elevator or anything. Even I remember like one of the Burn shows we played in Durban as well. They didn't have the elevator was broken, so you had to carry all the shit upstairs. It's like things have changed now. You don't have to have such big heavy shit.
Yeah. I was going to ask now, obviously you guys have done a shit ton of tours overseas and so on. What is the funniest thing that you can recall on tour?
Oof. I think this last one, I probably take the cake with that one. We played in the UK and we played it in Norwich, and we had probably one of the best shows we've ever had in our lives. We were just so tight, the crowd loved us. And a few people there wanted us to go out with them and have a celebratory drink.
Right.
And we ended up going to a gay club, just because it was the only place that was open and this is where they wanted to take us.
Right.
And we went there and we obviously had a few drinks, and I swear to you that my drink was spiked.
Oh.
And I took a couple of tumbles down I think 2 or 3 flights of stairs. and I cannot remember. I cannot remember anything from that night. I remember our performance, and then I remember waking up with like bloody ankles and getting lectured by everyone, and I don't know what happened. That's my personal story. That's my funniest part.
Wow, bloody ankles. A night out in Norwich. Yeah. Oh dear.
There's a continuation on that one.
Oh, here we go. Okay. You were sober the whole night and you videotaped the whole thing and it's waiting to be released.
I was the only sober one because I was the driver, and as a South African with a South African passport in the UK, the last thing you want to do is drive with any liquor in your system.
Yeah.
So I was the one, being the designated driver and everything for our night in Norwich. And we only got back to our accommodation the next morning at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And we had to be in Birmingham the following afternoon, the same afternoon actually. So, because we had a show in Birmingham too. And our car that we had hired was giving us trouble. And it broke down as we arrived at the Birmingham venue. It broke down and blocked the headline band's tour bus. So we played our show and we got the AA out to come and help us, and they kept saying they were going to show up, and they never showed up until 4 o'clock the very next morning after someone towed us out of the way just so that the tour bus of the main band could get out and get to their next show, And we were so broken, man. So we had 2 nights in a row of being in bed at like 4:30, 5 in the morning because of the first night having a good party and the second night having our tour bus run down and everything, and we waited for like an AA dude who eventually showed up at 4 o'clock in the morning to come and help.
You must have had a busy night.
These things happen, man.
Well,
yeah, but it's like bittersweet though, because the next morning me and Wayne, we massive football fans and we support Aston Villa. And because we were in Birmingham the next morning, we got an opportunity to go to Villa Park, which is where Aston Villa obviously play. It's their home ground. And it was like, I don't even know how far, it was less than a kilometer away. It was like 500 meters away almost. We were right there so even like feeling like angry and annoyed about the night before, the van breaking down and tired. We just decided, you know what, let's screw it. Let's just wake up early in the morning, go to that place and just, take our minds off of things. Yeah. And we eventually got like a private tour by someone in the parking lot. He just gave us a private tour of the entire stadium. So, sometimes when things go wrong, there's something good happening.
Everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, awesome, guys. Well, listen, DEITY'S Muse, Alvin and Wayne, thank you so much for the chat, and it's certainly gone past the 40 minutes that we hoped for, and we're actually running out of the second 40 minutes already. I wish you guys the absolute very best, because you are obviously clearly very level-headed young men that like to get their ankles bloodied and have park in the main act in the car park, because you should be on the main stage. Yeah, guys. So I look forward to the album when it is released, and the EP and whatever else, and I'll put all the links into the description below so people can click and like, love, share, and subscribe and do whatever they need to do. So again, thank you very much for taking the time out to chat, and let's do this again when the album's ready.
Absolutely, Trev. Thank you so much, man.
Awesome, guys. Keep well.
Thanks, you too, Trev. Thank you.
Alrighty, man.
Thank you, man.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.